Okay, and we're live, everybody. Sorry about the delay. We'll be about 10 minutes late. Today is Thursday, February 20th. Who's still tired from the World Series of Fenn? I know I am.
Me.
Yeah, yeah. Monday, we're going to, on the Hint of Riches, we're going to talk about World Series of Fenn. We're going to do the recap. Good going, Christy.
Sorry.
But tonight, because we actually, for those of you who may have caught it, we actually went live over the weekend, and Cynthia and Kpro were talking about the Canyon Down. And then, clips. I didn't even get a clip ready. And then, yeah, I know. And then that video got deleted, so Kpro can talk about that. But that's why we thought we would go live, and you guys could have that same discussion tonight. So how you doing, Cynthia?
I'm good. Thanks, Mike.
And how are you, Kpro?
Great.
Okay.
I want to show something. Just because I talked to Joe Lewicki today, and he says there's like 27 feet of snow, and it was literally 27 degrees negative. Raleigh is shut down because of the half-inch of snow, so schools are closed.
3D Bronze with the super chat. He says, sweet background right there. 3dbronze.com made these.
Nice.
Go to 3dbronze.com. He can make one for you as well. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be 72 here this weekend, so I don't know what you guys are talking about as far as winter. It's crazy.
Yeah,
all right.
And so we wanted to make sure, I will say Monday is going to be all about World Series of Fenn. We have videos, we have like 100 pictures. We're going to go over everything that happened, except for the things that YouTube doesn't allow. But there's a famous blanket. There are rings. There's lots of things that have happened. It was probably absolutely the best event. And we are taking it to the next level next year. So those of you that want to see what happened, you were frustrated that we deleted, and I will explain. We were in a suite. Thank you, Justin, if you're in the room. That suite was decked out. It was I don't know, you have to be a quadrillionaire to be in, and they escorted us in security-wise. The one thing that we promised all the searchers is we would ask them before we would go live and include them on a video. We did not do that because Cynthia and I were a little bit out of control. The whole time we were out of control. And some things were said that, not chase related, said that, it was middle of the night in Vegas that happened. So, and we included some people that did not give us permission beforehand. So some of you saw it. Some of you were there middle of the night waiting for us. We did delete it, but we're going to go over all of that tonight, the Forrest Fenn content portion. We're not going to show pictures of people that don't want their pictures taken or videos taken. And so that was the reason that we did what we did. And Mike was hesitant, but I said, because we knew we were going to catch some grief, and we did. But it's called, which one do we hold to? Not deleting videos or not putting people on video. And I know for my own situation, when someone doesn't want to be on video and have their identity out there, there's a reason for it sometimes. Not that anything would happen. We just need to hold true to that. So,
and Christy was naked.
Oh, tune in Monday to see the video, everybody.
That was part of the issue as well.
That was later, and I was just copying you. What are you talking about?
So that's Monday. Although we do have live audio of Dan trying to get back to his room. I don't know if maybe he left his cell phone on, but let's see. Let's listen. Live.
It was fun. Every night was fun.
There it is. Okay, so he got back. He may have stumbled a little bit, but he made it. Blue Fox with the $5 super chat. You also promised a Forrest Fenn clip from the interview. Okay, when Cynthia and Kpro are talking about Canyon Down, I will get the Forrest Fenn clip ready somehow, some way, because I literally just walked in the door. But we're going to do it because we promised we would. So,
and so Cynthia and I will talk about the first part. We did promise in Vegas one, and I can tell you, there was only one event I missed. It was 1:30, maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Toby called and said, I'm going to play some poker. And I crashed. I think I got 4 hours of sleep in 4 days.
Yeah, it was rough.
And so that was the only 4 hours. And I feel so bad since I knocked him out of the World Series of Fenn. I was wanting to play poker with my search dad.
Thank you for that.
It took us so much time. I had no idea that we thought we were going to be able to break away and talk. and give a
It
Forrest Fenn
happens
clip.
every year. We run out of time.
We do. I didn't get time with I didn't even get private. Well, I got a little private time with Cynthia, but you'll see those videos later.
Super chat from JB Wild. Thank you. He says, hi, Mike and Kpro. Hello, JB Wild. Sassy says, so you don't want me to moderate because we're talking about naked stuff.
Monday. Stuff. Let's talk about naked stuff Monday, and that will be not moderated, but a little bit lighter. Let's get on to content.
Tonight's going to be Canyon Down, right?
Yeah, and I know someone's in the room is like, oh, are they going to talk a half an hour about other stuff and not get to content? We might. This is called Whatever We Want. It's our channel. Go away if you are a hater. Go. Anyway, so.
And there goes Chris. All right, you guys discuss. So, I will say this, everybody. We got a $2 super chat from Copper Dan. That's not as far down as I thought it would be. Okay. You made it to your room. It's not as far down as I thought it would be.
That's the one thing I will say, and then we're going to get to content. There were quite a few searchers, and me not this year, which was great, that had we made sure everyone was safe, and we made sure people made it home, and we are a community that really came together because Vegas, I think some people weren't used to having a couple drinks.
Faith, I'm looking at you. But that's okay.
Stop it. There was 15 people that I could name.
Was drunk a couple times. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. When you had
your third drink, I went, oh my God. That's more than I've seen you drink in like 6 months.
Copper Dan. He got me drinking Bailey's on the rocks. So
yeah, you guys got crazy.
And then I said,
he says rectum damn near killed him.
I don't know. All right, sorry. All right, let me get on the clips. You guys, so let me remind everybody to thumbs up the video. Let me remind everybody, as you saw,
thumbs up
that Super Chat's on. There's another one from JB Wild. In the Canyon Down, home of brown marks. I don't know what that means. But let's set the scene. What I'm assuming you two are going to talk about is that you were both in Forrest Fenn's home, and this is a conversation that was had. Is that correct?
No, none of that was right.
Oh, well, then I'll let you two set the scene, and I'll try and figure out what clip we're going to show.
Okay, so let's set the scene of why we're even talking about this. There's lots of things that I don't think can be confirmed. You didn't hear it. You all aren't going to hear it directly from Forrest Fenn. So it's just going to cause, I don't know, issues. But some of those things have been recorded. Some of those things have been said. Cynthia got ornery. I think it was on the marathon or right before the marathon or right after the marathon is like, I zinged her. She's the kind of friend, you zing her, she zings you back 20 times back. She knew of a conversation about Canyon Down. And when I said, Cynthia, you know something about, I don't even remember what I said. And it was structures. And she's like, well, let's talk about your Canyon Down. And about 5 of you have consistently, almost every day, emailed me, when are you going to have that discussion? When are you going to have that discussion?
Hang on. Get the clip ready. Go ahead.
Yeah, but don't give out too much.
I know. Go ahead.
So that is the discussion we're going to have tonight. There was a discussion with Forrest. I don't remember all of the details exactly. I don't have the recording. Cynthia does have notes after all the discussion because she is very meticulous, methodical. She is trying to find this treasure chest. So we're going to discuss the Canyon Down discussion. What is Canyon Down? That's why I think it is its own standalone clue. And some reasons behind that.
Was this a discussion with Forrest?
It was a discussion with Forrest.
Oh, the Cynthia said I was wrong. I was kind of right.
No, you said a discussion with. Okay, go ahead.
In
Cynthia.
his home. So.
Oh, he weren't in his home.
So let's start it. So, Christy, let's do it in chronological order.
And a 3D super chat from 3D Bronze. Copper Dan's room.
4th,
not too far to walk. Okay, go ahead. Thank you, 3D Bronze. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. Go ahead, Cynthia. Take it away.
Okay, so Christy, on July 4th, 2018. You and another searcher were at Fenn's house. And that was I think the first quote that we were going to talk tonight about was from that date. And since I was not there and you told me later, and then I wrote down what you told me, either I can say what I have written down or you can just go ahead and talk about what you think was said by Fenn on July 4th, 2018 at 2:34 p.m.
Wow. Somebody knows.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty sure there's a recording of this out there on the internet somewhere.
Oh, this is July 4th. Oh, okay. Now I understand.
It was July 4th, 2018. So tonight's show isn't about that. But I have, if you can remember exactly what Forrest said to you take it away? If not, I will tell what.
No, let's start with yours, and then I'll give the context to it, because whatever I say, I know won't be exactly accurate, and that's why the recording / people that take the notes, I don't. So I just kind of wing it, and I kind of remember, and I remember wrong sometimes. So, and it's not with malintent. It is just with the notion that you kind of a year and a half later. Anyway, so why don't we start with what you have, and then I'll give the context of this. I will say the reason that there's an additional person there was I met Forrest in the bookstore the day before, and he said, hey, if you want to come to my place, he didn't want to deal with drama issues. So he was like, bring someone with you. So I brought someone with me the next day, which was 4th of July, and met for like the whole afternoon, which was great. I mean, there were several days of meetings and things. So, anyway, that was maybe second or third, maybe fourth. I guess that was the first time that I had really met Forrest one-on-one. We had emailed for years, but okay, fire away.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Super chat. Thank you, M.A. Hammock. Not far, but too far to stagger. Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
So part of this conversation today that we're about to talk about, that was the same conversation about the 200-footer. And let's not even go into that because that was discussed so much, a long time ago. But anyway, that was the same day. So, Christy, I don't have hardly anything in my notes. I just have what he said. So
let me just ask this real quick. You said we talked the 200-footer to death. Is what we're about to say not been talked about before on the vlogs?
I don't.
Oh, well, in that case.
I don't think specifically.
We got breaking news if that's the case. Okay, go ahead. I'll
not
stay
that
out.
I'm aware of. I believe this is the first time that Christy and I have talked about her conversation with Forrest and this other searcher about the canyon quote. I think this is the first time she and I have talked about it publicly when we were allowed. We're not naked now and we're not drunk now.
Right.
So
okay.
This is the real deal. So anyway, Christy, the only thing I have in my notes that you told me that I wrote down is the canyon is there and in quotation marks at WWH. Now there's another quote. There's another time when Christy and I were at lunch with Forrest in August. That will be the second quote, which I have the exact words of that quote written down. But
are you talking about the named?
Yes.
Okay.
But
so
to talk about the background of why he talked about this, and just to jog your memory, it had to do with him being mad at you because you have a PhD. I mean, this is part of the story. So do you recall? Do you understand where I'm going?
I mean,
do. The PhD, he couldn't understand why you aren't smart enough to figure this out.
I think the word was stupid, which is fine because that's the relationship we have. People don't need to get angry on either side. That was what
Forrest called you stupid. Is that what I just heard? Did he say that?
Do you need a crutch?
Well, I know about the crutch. I didn't think a PhD would need a crutch. That's pretty funny.
And it's like, maybe I am. Oh, well, what do you say?
When it comes to the poem, we're all stupid, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, I look at it and say no, and I ask a question back or yes, and give me something.
Okay. So Canyon Down, let's hear it.
I want to interject one more time about the story because Christy, since we weren't there, give everyone the background about how you were telling Forrest your solution and why he even went to this discussion about the canyon and why you have a PhD, but you're too stupid to figure this out. So explain that you're solved so that everybody that doesn't know the story understands the conversation you and Forrest were having.
Well, I believe, and I might be wrong, so we talked very little about search solves. My first solve was Ojo Caliente. And of course he said, you like Madison Junction, Ojo Caliente. And he's like, you and 200,000 other people. He's like, really? You're not even going to get imaginative? And I was like, that's what I felt like.
Guess what, everybody? Okay. Ojo Caliente is not it.
I said, but that's my love solve because I think it's so beautiful. And so thanks for that, Dr. Phil. And then we started discussing, at the time I had a Nez Perce solve. And all of you know or if you don't know, my Nez Perce solve starts at the first battle of Nez Perce, which if you look up some history, you can see that it actually has the acronym WWWH. Wildlife Habitat is the end. I forget exactly the beginning. And then there was a discussion of, well, where is your canyon down? And I said, well, that's clue 2. And clue 2 is the second battle. So you go from WWWH to whatever the second battle is.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did he had already made the comment of, did you dip your toe in it about WWH, or he had not said that yet?
I think that was later.
Oh, okay. All right. Trying to understand the timeline. That's all.
It could have been the same conversation. Quite honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
Fair enough. Wish maybe but it might have been that. I don't think it was the same conversation. But anyway, he said canyon down, and he said, how far away is that? And I was like, I don't know. It was 30 miles, 50 miles, something like that. And he's like, do you know what contiguous means?
Miss PhD.
And I'm like, Miss PhD. Yes, he did that. Okay, doctor, PhD. He zinged me a little. And actually the person that we were with was like, he was a little offended by the zinging coming towards me. And I'm like, don't get upset. This is just me and Forrest way. Like, he's not being disrespectful. He is being like, this is what we did for years.
And were you zinging him back?
There was another person there, so I felt a little odd too, but sure. I was like, okay then, Mr. Man, tell me, Mr. Man.
Right.
You know, like we did like you guys heard on the video. I think it's the same day that audio is from the same day.
Okay.
So he said, well, where's your, so he asked me, where's the canyon? For me, that means the canyon's the second clue. So that kind of solidified that for me. Then the discussion was,
what was that? Just because he asked you.
So WWWH, he's like, then where's your canyon? So, like, okay, you got the first clue. Where's your second clue?
So you took it to mean, wait, did he say that? Here's your first clue? Oh, okay. But you took it that way. Correct. I'm just setting the record straight. That's all.
So let's think about it this way. And I'm not watching the chat, and I'm sorry. You're going to need to put at Kpro, and I'll try. If he said, where's your WWH? Where's your canyon? Where's your too far to walk? Where's your blaze? Those would mean, to me, those are 4 clues.
Okay.
So when he says, where's your WWWH? Where's your canyon? That led me to believe, I'm not saying that that's for you. Maybe it's all one to you, whatever. And then when he said contiguous, like, don't you know what contiguous means? That even more so says, because he says the clues are contiguous. So that means even more to me, clue 1 and clue 2 are WWWH and Canyon, because he's saying they're contiguous, and he said the clues are contiguous. So there's your first 2 clues. What, Cynthia? What say you?
No, I'm totally agreeing with what you're saying. I can't remember why I was smiling.
So I think a takeaway is that wherever the precise location is where warm waters halt, there's a canyon right there that touches the same location. Is that what we're saying? Is that what you think Forrest was trying to say?
And don't be... Maybe he said, I don't think he used the word silly. I do remember.
Don't be a what?
Don't be a player hater.
Okay, sorry.
Don't be a PhD hater.
And then you said Forrest, the poem.
Crap, it doesn't work.
Yeah, right. About the poem.
Okay. Enough of that, mister. So then it was, well, where's your canyon? And I said, it's 30 miles down. It's the next.
Which makes no sense, but go ahead.
Battle.
Sorry, I got to give you a hard time.
I've been boots on the ground, baby doll.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
So then we kind of quibbled back and forth, and I'm like, well, then do you want to hear the rest of it? And he's like, nope. And it was like,
oh, he said no. So in other words, he shut it down. He's like, there's no need.
Like, throw that baby out. Now, I do actually think that Nez Perce might have something, because when he asked me, what is your solve? I said, Nez Perce. He's like, Nez Perce what? Nez Perce Trail, Nez Perce this. And it was like, if he was inquiring more, what did that mean? That means Nez Perce is somehow related, in my opinion. He didn't say it. He didn't like give me any super secret hint. He was inquiring, and I'm deducing, because Logic Tracer is somewhere in the room. Based on logic, I'm trying to deduce things from what he's asking.
And was that it, or was there more?
Well, so you guys know, like that weekend, I think I saw him like, I don't know, probably 20 hours a time. So with this searcher, I saw him one day. With this searcher, I saw him the next day. With the searcher, I saw him, I think it was 2 or 3 days in a row. And then there was a lunch when Cynthia was there. And I
Are we going to go to that? So that was another trip that you did out here.
Okay. That was the
because
next trip.
I actually have this in my timeline. It happened on, we had lunch with Forrest on August. I had the date, but now I can't read it. 2018.
I wish you weren't a liar.
And
I'll just say for the
That
record,
okay, this is where he asked me to do the Jamie Jordan drawing. This is that trip.
this is the time frame. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So I had
This
not
is right
met any
before
of
the
you at
event.
this point, including Forrest. I was just
No, at this point, I called you for some coins and you had said no.
right, but we didn't know each other, and I didn't know any of this was going on. There's searcher
no.
meetings, there's Canyon Down being talked about. I had no clue. So email kpro3@aol.com, not me, over any of this. Okay, go ahead, Cynthia.
So because I was actually at this luncheon and I was actually there to hear the quote, I have it written down, and I didn't write it down in front of Forrest, but as soon as I get to my car, I write everything down. So I have it written down that Christy asked Forrest, does the canyon have a name on the map?
Ooh.
And Forrest replied, I can't answer that because it's too big a clue. Christy, do you think that that's exactly the words that were said? Or do you remember it a different way?
I do. No, I remembered
That's
exactly. that
exact,
way.
right?
So he wouldn't answer. It's too big.
He
of a
would
clue.
not answer.
No, it's not that he wouldn't answer.
He answered.
answered with that.
Yes.
That he,
Right.
no,
That's right.
I'm not going to say it's too big of a clue.
He would not say if the canyon has a name on the map or not.
Yeah, and that is too big of a clue because if he says yes, then you know you're looking for a named canyon. If he says no, it'll kill any solve that has a
Yeah.
named canyon on a map.
Absolutely.
So I understand him saying, I'm not going to answer that.
So if you were to guess which way, Michael, logical Michael, which way would you say? Is it named or unnamed? To me, it's crystal clear.
You're going to say it's named, right?
What are you going to say before
I
I
think
say
it could
You
be either
first.
way. I think in his mind, he's going to say, I'm not going to say either way because if it is or it isn't, it's too big of a clue. If it is, it rules out any canyon that's not named on a map. If it isn't, it rules out any canyon that's named on a map. So I think it could be either way.
Okay, so here is my Well, Cynthia, do you want to answer first? Because I have some logic here on why I think
I
do.
can answer. I have no idea which way it is. I won't rule out either one. I don't
See,
know.
I would rule out unnamed, and here's
I
the
don't
only
know.
reason. If it's formally named on a map, that's one thing. But then, in a lot of these small little putt-putt towns, they have informally named and sometimes on their local maps have a name. So I think it means it's been named.
And I'll also say this, if you put it together with the little girl from India that can
That's what-
solve the first two clues
Yeah.
from India, to me that leans toward it is a named location on a map, if in fact Canyon Down is clue number 2.
Drop the mic.
But that also
it
means
is.
where Warm Waters Halt is also a named location on a map. Think about it. How does a little girl in India solve that if she only has a map in the poem? It has to
That's
be
why-
a named location, right?
That's why I don't think either of them have names. I think when
Oh.
he said a comprehensive knowledge of geography would help,
Mm-hmm.
that's because that means they are like on a topo map. They are identified by a like on the legend of a map. If you read a topo map, you can tell if it's a canyon or not. In the same way with any kind of a feature that might be a
But how
water
would the little
feature.
girl in India figure out the right topo map?
Oh, she can't. But if she could solve the poem with the book and a map, but
Right.
only the first two clues.
Because,
I
in
don't
my
think they have to
opinion,
have names.
they're named location. How else do you find it if it's not named on a map?
Oh my God! Because just a spring is just a little squiggly mark. There's millions of
All right.
springs that show a location, but there's no name.
Yeah, I
Little
think it's
M&M.
named. So we have no clarity. Everybody, there's a few people in the room who are like, oh my gosh, this is such a huge hint. How could Forrest say it privately? Because it means not like,
Because it means nothing.
yeah, and
doesn't
like
tell you
I
anything.
interpret it the opposite as Cynthia does. And
Yeah,
Mike,
it's interesting how you both have totally opposite reactions. That is interesting.
he's not handing this down. And people have been doing this
And-
literally for like 10 years.
And
Like,
yeah.
a reporter got secret information. No one's gotten anything because Forrest, you
me-
can give me the hint. Give it to me and I'll go pick up the chest.
No
I
one's No one's getting anything significant enough to help you find the treasure.
Right.
Obviously.
To me, this is all obvious to Forrest. He's
Yeah,
kind of
and
looking
that's
at you
different.
like, just like with the reporter where he says, Terry Scant with Marvel gaze means get the chest and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
To him, it's just
It's
obvious.
It's
what
so
it means.
obvious to Forrest he can't believe. Just like Christy not understanding
Mm-hmm.
that WWH is at the canyon when he said they're contiguous
And consecutive.
She
Well,
doesn't
but here's what I
automatically
said.
understand that. It's
But
a
I
no-brainer.
said it's contiguous because it's Nez Perce Trail. That's what attaches it. And he's like, this is what he did when I said that. PhD.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just Forrest being Forrest. People don't think he's
No,
giving
it
anything
means
away because I don't think he
attached.
is. What?
Yeah, no, nobody's gonna like come to
Well,
my
and,
defense.
and
but
what
I do
year
have
was
to
this?
say-
This was 2 years ago, right? So
Right.
obviously
When I
he didn't help because nobody's found it. You two haven't found it. You know what I mean? But it is, in fact, why you switched to up to the Cody area, right, Cynthia, from New Mexico?
That singularly moved you.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
I switched.
know.
I switched to the northern states back in 2017.
Before
I
this
was already-
happened?
I was
Oh,
already
okay.
searching.
I didn't
Oh my
realize
God,
it.
I was already up there way before this.
Okay, so basically recap. Did you dip your toe in it? He's asked
Did you
Kpro.
dip your toe in it?
He's told 3 searchers or asked, can you dip your toe in it? Was it warm?
And one was in writing that people saw the
Right,
email. Scott
right.
shared the email that asked exactly, and Scott actually sent him an email back with his foot in it. So yes, can you dip your toe in it?
If I were Danish, I'd say mango tot.
So we have didn't mean to cut you off, Kpro, or did I?
Sure.
We got a super chat from William. He says it's been 10 years. So the little girl from India in college working at Waffle House and isn't looking for the chest no more, FYI. So if you thought she had a leg up, she no longer does. Thank you, William, for that $4.99 super chat.
Yeah, and Sassy says, no offense, hon, but if you would have told me your solution, if you could roll your eyes.
Yeah,
Now here's
right.
And she would have rolled her eyes like Forrest did. Here's the interesting thing. I took, for all of you that think you have the super solve, that's it. I did. I thought that. My Nez Perce solve, I'd put thousands of hours into. The last place was the last battle that was within 10 or 5 and 10-2. And it was, and I gave it to Cynthia and I gave it to Follow Me Down, my old search partner. And I'm like, Cynthia is going to run and get it within 10 minutes, and Follow Me Down's going to jump on a plane. I can't believe you guys have all done it. Your little sucky solves, just like my sucky solves. You know what happened? Cynthia was like, it's okay, but here's a couple of issues. And she went over the couple of it. And it was like, 18 months on that solve. And I thought for sure that was it. Like all of you. Now you guys are saying, yeah, but it's different because I have the real one. No, you don't. No, you don't. I was
If I
so
were French, I'd
impressed.
say merci beaucoup.
Richard McKeever, thank you for that super chat.
Well, so here's the thing I just want to tell you. You guys have those same sucky solves. You just don't realize it because you're not sharing it with anybody. When I shared it with Cynthia, then I thought, oh, Cynthia is just confirmation bias on her own stuff. And I gave it to Follow Me Down. And he was like, it's not. There's a couple
It
of
doesn't
issues
make
you need to
sense.
work
Yeah.
through. They didn't
And
say it
that's okay.
sucked. They didn't say I was stupid, but they didn't make fun of my PhD.
Look-
They didn't do any of that.
Only Forrest. Yeah.
Only for, but I do have to say, between Forrest, Cynthia, and Follow Me Down, thank you. It was a big. And I didn't do what you guys do, and I keep the same solve for 10 years, and you guys are like upset and suing Forrest because you didn't find it. I'm moving on.
Well, think of all the thousands of solves. The majority of them aren't even in the right state. So, we're all in that same boat. It's just you're the one that got confirmation from Forrest that you were wrong. That's
No,
that's
I
the
got
only
confirmation
thing.
from actually Cynthia was the one because I was
But-
like, he's messing with me.
I mean,
he's just messing with
If
me.
you would have
No,
explained that solve to me, I would have told you it doesn't make sense. But
I didn't know you.
I know, but I'm just saying you could have
You
probably
don't
talked.
know me.
Was there another searcher with you on that solve? You had a partner that was like, "This makes sense," or was it just you?
No, it's just me. I'm an
Exactly.
independent woman. No, it was
Okay.
me.
So, what have we learned
Forrest doesn't
today,
like
kids?
that. Don't search by yourself. Forrest did not like that. When I had to check in with him and all of that because he was like, "Why are you going by yourself?" I'm like, "I don't trust anybody else." And
I wish you weren't a liar.
Anyway, before we transition to something else real quick, what have we learned today? We've learned that where warm waters halt, there's a canyon right there, everybody. There's no great length. They touch each other. The clues are
And it's clue
consecutive,
two.
and the clues are contiguous. And in Kpro's opinion, it's clue 2. I think it makes sense if we go back to the park analogy. I'm standing where warm waters halt. where do I go from here? You take it in the canyon down. That's a clue telling you where to go.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
Christy Meeps, Cynthia, what say you? What did you get out of all that discussion? What do you know now for sure because of all of this discussion?
Are they asking me?
Yes.
It confirmed what I thought all along, was that the canyon was there. I've always believed the clues are close together, and that was just confirmation for me that that was my analysis, that it confirmed that they're close together.
And then for me, it go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and do you need a PhD to figure that out?
I don't.
My PhD's working against me. Okay,
As long as it's not a player
I've never
hating
been
degree.
like I'm smarter because of. I think how I think because of. I do have to say I have to get away from the statistics and the codes that Mike goes into, and that's where I'm schooled in, and it's hard. I need to go more imaginative. I don't know what I need to do. I got.
Mario has got a good point in the chat. He says many people in the chase would be glad to know that their solve is not right. That technically is not helping them toward the correct solve. And he is right. So when Forrest says, I've never told anybody anything that would get them closer to the chest, I believe that's a true statement. If he tells me, Mike, your warm water's halt's incorrect, okay, I know that's incorrect, but he hasn't helped me get any closer to what is correct. So that's the way I take it anyway. But real quick, because Cynthia is on the show, I want to show a little eBay auction that's up that Cynthia might recognize.
Oh.
Boom.
The world-renowned, I think is how it's world-renowned searcher.
This is Copper Dan's eBay auction. We're all
11
glad you made it
bids.
to your room, Copper Dan. This is Cynthia Meachum's New Mexico map collection. It's got 4 days left. It's currently up to $125. You want to give us a little preview of what's here? I see a circle on something right there.
That's
Bernardin Lake?
WWH.
I don't know what that is. Okay. But you put this up and Copper Dan purchased it, right, Cynthia?
Yes.
Okay. And now Copper Dan has put it up because I think we're all in agreement that it's not in New Mexico, apparently.
We know
I
for
don't
sure. After the World Series of Fenn, I know for sure it's not in New Mexico.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Sure.
People are going to get upset. We're just
I don't
kidding.
care if people get upset. Come to search events and get a couple in you then.
A couple in you. Well, there was talk, but okay. So this map collection is there on eBay. All right, I'll take care of it. Hang on. Forrest Fenn, New Mexico search maps, owned by world-renowned searcher Cynthia Meachum. The other thing that I've got to say, okay, I'll take care of it. You hate those, huh? I'll take care of it. The other thing is trickytreasures.com, everybody. So, earn money by solving riddles. New website game based on riddles where you can win money. The website is trickytreasures.com. You need to figure out what the answer is to the riddles on the playing board as they are released. A new riddle is revealed when a certain number of new players join the game. So the more you speed share Tricky Treasures, the faster the game will move. It's $10 to play, and the first person that sends in the correct email at the end will get $5,000. trickytreasures.com. Okay.
.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think what else. So
I think you should give us a clip. I mean, you've been going on for 40 minutes. This is crap. This is all crap content. We want Forrest Fenn, because if it's not from Forrest Fenn and just from some stupid PhD, it's just not real. Come on.
I'm going to give a clip, but it's not going to be perfect. So we're going to be playing some other. I can't. There's no way for me to know where to stop.
Can you mute
Oh,
it
wait.
or
Yeah,
no?
I guess I can do this. All right. Well, actually, here, let's find out. Can you guys hear this or not?
What's going on?
Yes, we can hear it.
You can. Oh, I couldn't hear it. All right, hang on. Can you hear it now? I hit the wrong mute button. All right, can you hear it now?
If they can
Yeah,
hear
but I don't hear it
you.
either. What the heck? We're just gonna have to play it, honey. We're gonna have to wing it.
No, honey. No.
What is going on here? Hang on. We're gonna have to. All right, wait. I got too many screens open, everybody. So is that it from the discussions? Is that it? Did you guys talk about the blaze? Did you guys talk about
I want
too
to
far
know
to
where
walk?
Christy thinks the treasure is now since the World Series of Fenn. What state?
That's a good
Wyoming.
question.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I will say I've narrowed it down to Wyoming, Montana,
Okay.
based on the World Series of Fenn.
Did you see
Will
my
you
blog
say
article?
why?
I put
No.
what Gary. Oh, I made a blog article on what Gary Countryman showed us about the state seal and
yep.
compared it to the illustration, and I credited him for showing that to us.
Well, the funny part is you guys saw on Facebook that we had a group picture, and within 5 minutes, 2 searchers had sent me the close up of Cynthia's phone, and they're like, "Oh, super secret hints."
Yeah.
And yes, that's exactly what we were discussing. And Gary, you're awesome. But that is not the reason why. I mean, it was good talk, but there was some stuff said at the World Series event. 100.
So I'll say 2 things.
And you were not in those discussions, Michael.
I was busy.
Was I in those discussions? I don't remember.
I don't know where I
those.
was.
I don't think you would remember them.
Oh, that's right. I was on the final table. Anyway.
Oh, no. Oh my God.
Anyway, I came in 3rd place, if anybody
Christy,
doesn't
was that
know.
when we were having the
Justin,
tub
how
party?
are you, Justin?
Was that the tub party in your room when we talked about Wyoming?
The tub party. All right, hang on a
Mike
minute.
wasn't there. He was playing poker.
If I'm Italian, I'd say grazia.
Grazia to Justin. Justin, everybody, is the one who was nice enough to let us all drunk people come up to his suite with the $49.99 super chat. The same goes for you guys, as goes for Toby. Thank you for your contributions to the community. Great to meet you all. Good luck this summer. Hey, thanks, Justin. You as well. I hope maybe you learned something tonight on this show that you didn't know before. Maybe you didn't. But I'll say 2 things. Maybe a little bit from the World Series of Fenn. I'm no longer a poem purist. I think you are not going to figure out where warm waters halt unless you figure out what the hints are in the thrill of the chase. I don't know how Kpro and Cynthia feel about that. But I know a lot of people are like, the poem, only the poem. Even if the first stanza hints at what or where warm waters is, I still think there's no way you're going to figure it out of all those thousands of possibilities. I really think you need the Thrill of the Chase book, and you've got to figure out the hint.
I don't think Forrest is going to mandate people to buy it. I think out of the pages that are up on his website for free is
that's an interesting
the ones that are needed for the hints. And we're going to play a clip that relates to that tonight. And someone asked me who knocked me out of the World Series of Fenn. Justin, your $49.99 might not be enough. It was Justin. I have a picture after he knocked me out.
He got the searcher coin? I thought Boomer Girl knocked you out.
No, Boomer Girl knocked me out the first time.
And I see.
And I had a very bad moment, and Mike's going to have to cover up because
Or we'll just play it. And then Justin knocked you out permanently where you couldn't rebuy anymore. See, I didn't know that. Yes. Way to go, Justin. All right. That way I couldn't knock you out. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't get in trouble. So thank you very much. What was I saying? Oh, I think you need the book.
Knows?
I don't think it's been 10 years. If somebody was going to figure it out, what's the problem? In other words, if it is just the poem and the key word that's in the poem, what are we missing? You know what I mean? There's some intelligent people working on this thing. 400,000 people, somebody mentioned, or somebody threw that number out over the last 10 years.
I once had a fish.
Yeah. So I really think, in my opinion, we need to throw the chase book.
Yes, but before I answer, Justin, please email me. I have something I need to ask you.
Uh-oh. Well, you could just do it right now. There's nobody
and
watching.
Please CC Kpro3 at AOL.com.
Yeah.
And absolutely do not let anyone else know that we're discussing where the treasure chest is hidden.
Uh-oh.
And back to Mike.
Top secret.
421 people. It's a secret.
The other thing I'll say.
Mike, yes, I do believe. I agree with Mike. You need the book. TTOTC.
Now, finding the subtle hints may be just as hard, but I really think, that's why he says there's, read the poem over and over slowly, then read the book looking for hints that will help you with the clues. Without those hints, I don't think we're finding it. Just my opinion.
Cynthia, Justin said in chat, will do, but I have to have Kpro on the email, so I'm sorry.
Hey,
he didn't say that.
What am I over here? I'm just a soundboard guy. The other thing I'll say is I really like the Wyoming area also for a couple reasons. Try the wheel, which the message is in the poem, intentional or not. What if try the wheel simply meant look in Wyoming because the medicine wheel's in Wyoming? Has nothing to do with the medicine wheel right there itself, but meant try Wyoming. If you're going to look for my treasure, try the wheel. Try the state of Wyoming. One very small possibility. The other thing is the anagram of Meeteetse, Pitchfork, Realm of Horn, also in Wyoming. Meeteetse, Wyoming. You take those two things, you take the Cody Museum, you take what Yellowstone, it's all happening in Wyoming. So, Kpro, I think you converted me. I think Wyoming might be where it's at.
Well, I have a whole, and then you take what Cynthia obviously has put up on her blog. You take the state seal, and then you take the picture of the guy looking up at the moon. They match.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, he's okay if I'd say, right? Country Gary's
I
the one
put
who
it on my
pointed that
blog,
out to me.
so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
out
yeah.
there.
It's so weird. I haven't really looked at it yet, but it's a weird match. And somebody noticed we were talking about it at breakfast. That was that William that blew the picture up and said, "Look, guys, they're comparing the seal to wherever." Somebody posted it.
Several
so yeah,
people emailed
Mike
me,
Wood says,
and
"Mike,
I
you're
didn't
crazy."
say who, but Mike did.
It's all narrowing down to Wyoming a little bit. Now, where do warm waters halt in Wyoming is a very good question. That's what we need. That's the next step.
Cynthia, would you want to answer that?
Yes, actually, if you go to the NOAA website, that's NOAA, as in, what's that stand for?
No treasure chest.
I can't remember what NOAA stands for. NOAA. Then go to their
Look it up right now.
Click on the link that has the geothermal areas in North America, and they will have every geothermal area or feature marked and color coded with the temperature of the water.
NOAA
And
is
you
the
will
National Oceanic and
That's
Atmospheric Administration.
Right.
Really?
And if you, like I said, go to the geothermal pages for any of the states, and they all have it, but they're color coded by the temperature of the water. And Wyoming, I think, had the most of the 4 states, as I recall. And that's not just Yellowstone, also outside of Yellowstone.
Well, I guess we need a searcher
lots of
meetup
warm
in
water
Wyoming.
In Wyoming.
I thought you were Montana. So let's just be
No.
clear. What state are you in?
Wyoming.
What state are you now converted to, Mike?
I'm looking into Wyoming. I'll go wherever warm waters halt. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking into Wyoming.
And Wyoming. So
Oh, and by the way, that where warm waters halt's got to have a canyon right there. We fight. If anything, everybody should take away. It touches.
it's warm, it's water, and something you can dip your toe in. It's can I call you out right now on one that I think you have heard and I want you to share, Cynthia?
Sure.
Scalding. Is it when he says warm, we know it doesn't mean cold, but does it mean scalding?
Scalding
warm is
hot.
warm. You can touch it. Scalding is out because you can't touch it.
Have you ever had a scolding that Forrest maybe didn't call you stupid, but gave you some feedback?
He never called me stupid. He was probably thinking it at the time, because as I recall, the expression on his face was like, it was Alamo Bog in the Valles Caldera here in New Mexico. And when I told him what it was, and he knew it was scalding water, he said, "But can you get in it?" And it's like, no, it's scalding. And that is not a secret. It is in my book, and my book has been out since the end of 2017.
This book right here, everybody, which I have not read yet, Cynthia, but I want to have you back on. Look at all her searches are in this book, everybody.
I've shared that. I've shared it, so it's not
okay. I'm going to read it here in the next
week. I just blew you up.
Yeah,
just blew you up, Cynthia.
So here's a question I'd like to
blow away.
pose to you two, ladies. Here's 2 questions. We have warm waters. Where they halt, there's a canyon. Is it the temperature of the water that halts and the water continues down the canyon, or does the water actually halt and the canyon's dry? What do you think? Because it's where warm waters halt. Is it the water that halts, or is it the temperature that halts? What do you think?
I can address a few of my different solves where the warm water was a warm water spring that you could actually get into. And Christy, I took you to San Antonio Hot Springs here in New Mexico.
I got
that. Those were pools of water up on the hillside. They trickled down into San Antonio Creek. You could actually touch where the trickles of the warm springs went into the creek. The water is actually warm to the touch, right where that water enters San Antonio Creek. You could go from the trickle over a couple inches to the creek, and it goes from warm to cold right there. That, in my opinion, is where the warm water's halted, and that tells you what side of the creek to take it in the canyon down on. If you're walking, that means you walk on that side of the creek, not the opposite side of the creek, to the next clue.
And the equivalent,
that obviously, and I've used that in Yellowstone at Iron Springs. It was a very similar situation. And obviously, you can see how well this is working out.
Yeah.
Well, and the equivalent is
Not at
right
all.
when us ladies went and dipped our toe in it at Ojo Caliente, and it was cold, warm, Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
I burned myself. Let's get back over to warm. That would be, in my opinion, I think it's temperature, in my opinion, because I do believe the water continues. That's my
So I guess
opinion.
what we're saying, which might narrow things down a little bit, is there's a hot spring that dumps into a river right at the mouth of a canyon.
Or a creek.
Yeah, I
Why
agree,
Creek?
Mike. That's the place I like to
mean-
be able to find most often.
And
that
in
you
other words,
described.
what I guess what I'm trying to say is Ojo Caliente, is that a canyon?
No, not there.
Is
Because
the
you
Madison
have a lot-
River a canyon? Is that considered a canyon?
You have a lot of cold water between Ojo Caliente, where Christy was talking about. It goes from scalding to warm to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
cold. A lot of distance there over the flats before it hits the Firehole Canyon. There is a canyon, but there's a
It's
distance
further
between.
down. And that's
to
what
me,
I'm
that's
saying
not
is we're narrowing
contiguous.
down the clues
It-
here by what we're
In my
saying.
opinion, that's not contiguous. You got a big chunk of space between where the warm water halted and where that canyon, the Firehole Canyon, begins.
And I just
Don't
looked
be
up,
stupid. Don't
I
be
mean,
stupid and do
that's
that.
just-
and
Like,
we are going to
it's
show the
just me.
Forrest Fenn clip, everybody. Hang on with us. But I just looked up the word canyon, noun. A deep gorge, typically one with a river flowing through it. A canyon is a deep, narrow valley surrounded by tall cliffs. In other words, if you just have a creek, that's not a canyon. A canyon
That's
is
not a
something
canyon.
that's deep. It says a canyon's also, because a canyon is often very deep. Be very cautious when standing on the rocky cliffs above. The noun canyon refers to a deep ravine that has been cut into the earth's surface over a long period of time by erosion from running water. And that's why it's not far, but it's too far to walk. Like Forrest said, you're not going down in that canyon. It's a deep cliff. It's a ravine. You're not going to go down in the canyon. We're going to go down to where Homer Brown is, but it's too far to walk to go down in that canyon. He said, I'm not going up and down a canyon when he hid the treasure, right?
So most of my
Thumbs up for
solutions,
that.
you're already in the canyon. The warm water, you're already in the canyon when you leave your car.
Oh,
I mean, both
interesting.
San Antonio Hot Springs, Iron Springs, and Yellowstone, which is along the Gibbon River, you're already there at the same, almost the same elevation as the.
So see, I took that a different way.
I'm already in the canyon at
I-
most of my places.
I took it as where warm waters halt is where the canyon begins. You're saying where warm waters halt, you're already in the canyon.
At some of my places.
That's interesting. Begin at where warm waters halt and take
it's
it
not
in
the
the
beginning
canyon
of
down.
the canyon, and begin it where the canyon begins.
He has to tell you where to start in the canyon, so he's telling you to find the warm water.
Okay,
That's where you start.
I could
and
buy that.
So in other words, like when Christy and I were at San Antonio Creek, we needed to start right where that water halted, not way upstream. We needed to start there, and from there the next clue, and then the next. That's just me. I'm not saying.
Well, and I will say,
Right.
I have never experienced hot springs that you can, or bathing springs. That gave me a lot, even though it was a search that you had already discounted. That helped me so much realize, oh no, you can literally sit in these warm areas as they trickle down. They've made them like visitor event places where you go in and you sit in them. And I actually think it's more than your toe. I think it's somewhere that he could sit in. The question that I wish I would have asked is WWWH special to you? Like, is, because he says it's so important, is that special to you in some way? Like, I would have thought then it's somewhere that he sat and bathed, river bathing.
You
is
asking
best.
me?
No, I wanted to ask Forrest, can we
Oh.
rewind time? There were some questions that we did not get out of him.
Well, and I'll just recap maybe because we did take a week off for the World Series of Fenn. The last one we talked about, yes. Yeah, well, wait till I'm done, okay? Wait till I'm done. What I said last time was I think the first stanza points to where warm waters halt. The secret where is where warm waters halt.
Yeah.
But I don't think the first stanza is enough. I really think we need some subtle hints that are in the book. Okay, who's ready for a clip? Which
I don't
may or
think
may-
anybody, I think they want to go. It's been an hour. I
All
don't
right.
think they want to wait.
Hang on. All right, here we go, everybody.
You have it lined up right?
No, I can't hear it, so I don't know if it's lined up right or not. We're gonna find out
Michael,
together, honey.
No.
Sorry, but there's no other way to do it.
Okay.
So if we're
well,
gonna
this
do
is going
it,
to go a different direction after tonight.
well, I didn't have time to set it up, so life gets in the way. Now I have it up where our notes say to line it up. but you know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. Better or for worse.
And we've bounced along a pretty gravel road for a few years, going on 11 years now, I think.
So looking at The Thrill of the Chase, you've said there's subtle hints throughout the book. How do you define subtle?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said there are subtle hints in my books, not throughout my books. There's a difference.
Okay.
There are some subtle hints in my books.
Well, okay, I'm going to keep playing it, but I just want to point out he did say books, plural, didn't he? Okay.
They're not clues. They won't lead you to the treasure, but they'll help you with the clues that will lead you to the treasure.
All right, I think that is it right there.
And is it?
I'll play it again. Let me go back
Oh,
to
dear
about right
Lord.
there.
Road for a few years, going on 11 years now, I think.
So looking at The Thrill of the Chase, you've said there's subtle hints throughout the book. How do you define subtle?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I said there are subtle hints in my books, not throughout my books. There's a difference.
Okay.
There are some subtle hints in my books. And they're not clues. They won't lead you to the treasure, but they'll help you with the clues that will lead you to the treasure.
Okay, so subtle hints. Wait, first he corrects you, right, Christy? And he says,
No.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
He said, I didn't know a PhD needed a crutch. No, he said,
Guys need to let it go.
he said there's subtle books in the books, not
Subtle
throughout.
books.
Subtle hints. There's subtle hints in the books, not throughout the books. Why do you think he corrected you on that subtle? See what I did there? That subtle nuance of saying it that way.
Well, I had no idea. So I called some of my smarter friends that also have doctorates that are in the chat room. I don't think they'll ever say, but anyway, the difference between in and throughout. Throughout means kind of, they believed meant more evenly, like there's one in chapter 1, 4, 9, 12, 14,
throughout.
etc. Throughout. In means maybe they're all in My War for Me. Maybe they're all in the area, the excerpts that Forrest has given online because he doesn't want to make a redneck that needs $35 to feed his family actually buy the book. So throughout would mean evenly distributed. In would mean they're in the book, but they're not evenly distributed. They're concentrated in particular areas that he has noted are important chapters.
And books, plural. I mean, did he just confirm that? I mean, in a way, though, we know there's hints in all three books. Too far, thrill of the chase, he's come right out and said it. Too far to walk, he says there's an unintended, he says clue, but it's a hint. There's an unintended hint. And then Douglas Preston says there's hints in Once Upon a While. So did Forrest just confirm that maybe there are hints in all three books? Well,
and Forrest up on Thor, hintofriches.com, has said when I started buying all of his other books, I think there's 9 or 10 of them, I asked, actually Illinois Ghost asked, is there a hint in, and he named one of the books. It was, I don't remember which one. And he answered no. And I said, are there any hints in any of the first 9 books? And he said no.
Right.
So I think we've narrowed it that he's talking he's already narrowed it. He's narrowed it to 2, but possibly 3.
Thrill of the Chase, Too Far to Walk, and Once Upon a While. I mean, yeah. And I think those subtle hints are really what's needed in order to find the correct Where Warm Waters Home.
What do you think, Cynthia? In, throughout, what does that give to you? Anything?
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I think that in the past I had used multiple chapters in TTOTC. I mean, even the beginning of TTOTC before it even is chapter 1, whatever that's called. I always thought, I mean, that's where I got my Skylight Country, I think, from. And then you can get stuff from important literature, you know, which I pulled stuff from that. And then, I mean, and on and on, not necessarily every chapter, but
right,
many, more than 1 or 2 chapters. Since hearing this, I think the hints will be in maybe one chapter, at the most two, and I don't know. I guess my two would be definitely My War for Me and maybe Lewis and
Clark.
for Lewis and Clark. But I don't know.
William
Well,
with the
and
super
I
he-
don't
chat.
have any idea.
Oh, good one. That's a good point from William. Once Upon a While is a montage of scrapbooks. So is
Yeah.
it safe to say scrapbooks have clues and or hints?
It did for me,
yeah.
but
And would it be
that's
safer?
confirmation bias.
And then it is, but we're just trying to deduce, trying to use logic. So, William, would it also be safe to say that the scrapbooks that are in Once Upon a While are the only scrapbooks that would have hints or clues in them? Could you take it a step further and say that? That's why he put them in Once Upon a While, and why Douglas Preston's saying, I know there's clues, hints in this book. I don't know.
Let
just a
me
thought.
tell you what MEH says. He says, in, quote, can be any amount, anywhere in the book, any distribution. So, in short, this is a big nothing burger.
It probably is. Yeah.
It
Well,
could be. I mean, I ad-libbed the end, but
Yeah.
some people can take something to it. Some people cannot. He did say books.
Yes.
He did say that. And in and throughout, why did he, MEH, I would be interested. Why do you think he made a distinction? When I said throughout, and he's like, no, throughout would be exactly what you just said. Why did he make the distinction that throughout is no and in is yes?
Because in my opinion, when I hear throughout, I think they're all over the place. They're throughout the book. In means there could only be one. It's in the book somewhere. You got to find it. Now, he said there's a couple. He has said that when subtle hints, he says there's a couple. Somebody can correct me. And then he says there's a couple aberrations that live out on the edge. Rodney Greenway has a good point. He says there are also other subtle hints sprinkled in the stories. That's what it says in the Thrill of the Chase. Plural. So stories, chapters, plural. So more than one throughout. So he just kind of contradicted what I just said. There is more than one, because unless those subtle hints all refer to the same thing, where warm waters halt, then maybe you could say it only helps with the first clue. So the hints refer to only one clue, maybe.
Yeah.
If where warm waters halt is the hardest clue, I think that's what the subtle hints are helping us with, trying to figure out what warm waters are. Although now I think we know.
I personally believe, and I have no reason, there's no super secret audio on this. I personally believe the hints in TTOTC are only for WWWH.
I do too.
Because once you have that, they become easier.
Right.
But that's a guess. That's a gut feeling. That's whatever you want to say. That's whatever.
But he has said in the past, the hints in the book will help you with the clues
Plural.
in the poem.
That's true.
So
He did
he's
say
using-
plural.
But he has been very, very consistent in the last 10 years saying that he says a couple hints, a couple subtle hints and a couple aberrations out on the edge. He never has said there's a lot of hints, a lot of clues.
Right.
He almost always says either a couple or several. So
And they're only in the text.
Right.
in the
That's
text.
something
He-
new
he's-
that's been floating around,
That's
as
the
he
other
said
thing,
in
too.
the
He
text.
and I actually have an old interview where he actually said years ago the text as well. And I made notes and all that, but I don't really care about going to most of this. But I think one of the other texts where he said text was like back in 2013 or something.
Okay, well, there we have it. We got anything else? I think that sums it up.
We have solidified WWWH as warm water. You dip your toe in, and the canyon is connected right there, which he's already said 10 different ways. We've just said it the 11th way, and that there are only a couple of hints, which he's already said, in books. Just confirms books.
So wouldn't that also mean that Home of Brown has to be connected to the canyon? If all the clues are
I think all of
contiguous,
them
if
are.
they all
too
touch?
far to walk in there. If you believe that's a clue, then that's a step. Oh, so can I read one of the things since we're talking about the canyon?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this is from the Moby Dickens bookstore event, November 2nd, 2013, at the 47-minute mark. The question to Forrest was, did you have 9 clues before you wrote the poem, or did 9 clues appear after you wrote the poem? He said they're contiguous. I think this is the first time he used the word contiguous. This is also the same quote. They're contiguous. I knew where I wanted to hide the treasure chest, so it was easy for me to put 1 foot down and then step on it to get to the next foot. That's what I did. So another reason from many, many years ago, and most of my solutions close together, and you definitely, in my opinion, you don't drive. After you find WWH, you walk everywhere. But that's just me.
But he said that in the people 2016 or 17, he said, I didn't go up and down a canyon.
That I have that here too, and I can give you that exact words as well. Okay.
Yeah,
so
how do you rationalize that with that quote?
So this is what he said. The question was, who else knows where the treasure is buried? He said, I never said it was buried. I've avoided that word. I hid it. I don't mean to imply that it isn't buried. I just didn't want to give that as a clue. It took me 2 trips in my car to hide the treasure, and I can tell you an 80-year-old man is not going to make a trip into a canyon, then come up and go down again.
There it is.
So, but in my searches, I'm already in the canyon, so I don't know. Maybe canyon isn't at all what we think a canyon is. Maybe it means something totally different.
Well, then let me ask this. Can where warm waters halt be at the start of a canyon? I mean, is that even possible? In other words, there's a drop for where warm waters halt. It goes down into a steep, steep canyon. I don't know. I guess it's possible. Anything's probably possible in Wyoming. Oh. But the other thing that points to Wyoming is when he says it's umbilical, I'm umbilically attached. That's when he was a kid, everybody. And by kid, I mean through teenage years. He was all in that Yellowstone area, so to me, it's something he found when he was maybe a teenager. His special spot that he always knew. As soon as he got cancer and thought of the treasure chest idea, he knew, I'm going to put it there. If I'm going to do this, it's going there. My special location.
Let me ask you a question, Cynthia. This will be the last question, then we're going to wrap up.
Yep.
In my opinion, there's 4 confirmed clues of the 9. That's WWWH, Canyon, Home of Brown, and Blaze. Everything else is debatable, whether it's Too Far to Walk or Meek or Paddle Up Your Creek, any of those others. Do you have any that are absolutes to you beyond those 4?
Yes, Water High, because there's an interview where he talks about Water High. What is Water High? Is it? I don't have this written down, but I think the quote is, "What is Water High? Is it deep water or is it water deeper than normal?"
Okay.
And that is in an interview. So if he's the one that brought it up in the interview after they talked about other clues. So in my opinion, Water High is definitely one of the 9 clues.
Okay. We have 5 now.
That's the first time I'm hearing that one, everybody.
We are making our way through so we now have 5 confirmed, in my opinion, 5 confirmed clues of the 9 that if you don't believe Water High, no. If you don't believe Home of Brown, nope. If you don't believe Blaze, nope.
Right.
And then Terry Scant means get the hell out of there.
Means you have the
mean
chest.
All those other things that everybody thinks, and they're still going to the 5th and 6th stanza. I wish he would have answered the question of what is 1, 5, and 6 stanza for then. But he did not, and that is fine.
Okay, hang on. Why Must I Go has got something. Could be breaking news. Forrest never said the clue locations are contiguous. He said they are contiguous in the poem. Meaning they touch in the poem, they're not spread out. Now we got to find the actual quote of what Forrest said.
Oh, he said it like 19 different ways. And he said to me,
but could he mean they're
let me
contiguous
read
in
this
the poem?
again.
Yeah, read it again.
The clues absolute. So
all I remember are the clues are contiguous. But did he actually say in the poem?
In my opinion, his answer, yes. The question was, did you have 9 clues before you wrote the poem, or did the 9 clues appear after you wrote the poem? He's saying they're contiguous, and that's where he talks about putting 1 foot down.
Mm-hmm.
He is walking this. So
yeah, that to me
when
that
he's
leans
saying
toward
you put 1 foot down,
right.
you step on it to get to the next foot. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
How can that not mean?
It's interesting though that if what Forrest meant was they're contiguous in the poem, that confirms it's stanza 2, 3, and 4. They're together in the poem. They're not spread out. You're not bouncing around the poem. So it's an interesting point. Why must I go? I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Something
Yeah,
to think
and the
about.
cool
That's
part,
why
he's
we're here,
saying
guys, to
he
give you guys
disagrees,
something to
and
think
that's
about.
okay. We all have different interpretations. I think when he says simplified, this might not be the time for Why I Must Go to say I'm going to simplify. I think he's being straightforward and saying 9 clues, 9 locations. It starts with WWWH. It ends with the blaze. Look quickly down. That's where it is, because by the time you're Terry Scatton, you already have it. Get the hell out of there. For me, those are the 9, and they are 9 locations, and they touch. They actually are contiguous. But I understand the logic he's saying. He did not say the 9 clues, which are 9 points. He's never said 9 clues equal 9 points on a map. He's never said that. He's just said there's 9 clues. I have taken that logical jump. That doesn't mean it's right. So that's why it's so funny when he's like PhD, PhD. I don't think I'm right. Obviously, I'm not right. Many people think they are. Even when, though, I thought I was right, I was not a rooster. I was not sitting in chats going, you guys are so stupid. I just said, I think I have the possibility of going to pick it up. I don't travel because it usually takes me $4 or $5 grand to travel. I don't travel until I know that in my mind, I'm going with confidence. So if I'm going with confidence, I'm not a rooster. I'm saying, I think I have a good theory. I am not going to, oh, you guys don't have a clue. People, what you're doing, what some of you are doing in the chat, and some people blow me up because I do combat those people. I don't know what you need psychologically, but unfortunately you don't have it. So all of us are equal. So for me, I'm not going to go out though, unless I think I've got it. I've got a good solution that I think is going to get me there. And I have crashed hard. There's no question. I remember the first time I went out, and second time as well. I told Forrest, like, he was like, are you okay? Because we did the little check-in times. And I said, I'm okay, but I can't talk to you right now. I'm really angry at you. I was angry at him. I was like, I didn't go as far. Actually, one time I did. I went as far as to say, like, is it really out there? I thought I had the solve. And then you get over it. Then you and when people message me and Mike and like, I'm just coming back from boots on the ground. I want to share myself. I'm so upset. Da, da, da. It's like, take a week. This is like the stages of grief. It's the stages of post boots on the ground.
Sassafras just points out the clues are contiguous, consecutive, and chronological. Case closed. But those are the three things you said.
I have one thing to say because of why must I go to say. So Christy, my whole analysis of the conversation that you had on July 4th, 2018 at 2:35 p.m. with Forrest and another searcher present, when Forrest questioned you about that current solve because your clue 1 and your clue 2 were not contiguous, in my opinion, what do people need him to do? Slap you across the fucking head because you are too stupid to understand what he just told you. I think Forrest definitely confirmed it that day with you, and the fact that he got mad at you because you couldn't understand what the poem is telling everybody. And he was really mad at you because you have a PhD and he expects people like you to understand that poem. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he did everything. He did everything but smack you across the head and write contiguous on your forehead.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How many people would have turned to him and or later said, but my solve is still right. And I'm still, because he didn't say it this, or he didn't say it that. And they stick with I know of searchers that I think he's been, that's why I adjust. And I mean, the PhD part I've had since I've had a PhD. Some people like to do the little zing. And I know MEH is like, he doesn't have a problem with people highly educated because he doesn't have a problem with Michael. I think he adores Michael. I think he has a problem with some PhDs. And the education piece. I don't try to come off like I know everything because God knows I don't. But I do have to say, I did go to college for 16 years. I do believe I have some advanced education that could help me, and it's only hurting me.
You, that's all you care about.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for staying with us for this long. We'll do closing thoughts from each one of you two, but I want to say thank you to everybody who thumbs up the video, all 54 of you. A big thank you to everybody for the super chats. That helps us out for some of these things we do. And for the 14 people that thumbs the video down, You're entitled to your opinion, so that's okay.
Oh, it's only like 2, but they have split personalities because we always get 14, which is awesome. And even my video of love to you within an hour had the
Right.
14 down.
The same
And now
14,
it has about 5 more because there are hearts breaking.
It can't be the
everywhere.
blanket. It can't be the blanket.
No, it's because
Oh,
of
the blanket's not in
love.
that video. Never mind. And if you
No,
guys don't know what
you're
I'm talking
off the
about,
market.
next
People are
Monday you'll see.
upset. People are upset. You're off the market, and ladies, I'm sorry.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
So Cynthia, any last words? Thank you for coming on, by the way. I can't wait to read your book, and I
you're
want to have
welcome.
you back on to
You're
go
welcome.
over the book.
Okay.
If
sure.
anybody wants to order your book, where can they do that at?
Please go to my website on the homepage. There is the link is there to go directly to Book Baby. It's you order it, they print it and ship it to you.
Mike Wood with Super Chat, thank you. And what is the webpage, Cynthia?
ChasingFenstreasure.com.
That's what I thought. There it is, chasingfenstreasure.com. Same name as the book. TrickyTreasures.com. Everybody check that out. Kpro, any last words?
No, I love everybody.
No.
Everybody's great. I love it. And Cynthia was an absolute blast. World
Nice,
Series
Eric.
of Fun was a blast. Wait till Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to be blushing. I know other people will too, because we got some really good pictures and really
And
good
video.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike, we need to review it beforehand. It's
I
all-
can't show everything? What? Am I going to be edited? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I'll
Yeah, we'll go
see.
through it. All right, that'll be Monday on the
Wait.
Hint of Riches YouTube channel, the
I
World
have-
Series of
I
Fun
have one
recap.
more thing to say to
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
chat room and anybody that watches this later.
Mhm.
This is just our opinions.
Yeah.
None of us really know. If we and if we knew where the treasure was, obviously we'd go get it. So if you have other ideas, go for it. I don't.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is just 3 opinions here, and none of us have the treasure chest except for the one I got at San Lazaro that have in my gun safe. But other than that one, we don't actually have the real one. So that's a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is
Don't
just our
bring up San
opinions. We don't
Lazaro.
really know. We don't have the answers. Not for sure.
I will say thank you, everybody who came to World Series of Fun, for sure. And thank you, everybody who bought a Chaseopoly. I'm going to take us out with the Chaseopoly song. This is for Justin, who hasn't heard it before. And they're still for sale if anybody's interested. Okay, we'll see you Monday on the Hint of Riches for the World Series of Fun recap.
At the kitchen table by the pepper and the salt, you can begin your adventure where the warm waters halt. No harsh sun, no rain that pours. Do your Forrest Fenn search indoors. It's safer and it goes much faster. It's more fun than playing canasta if you're wise and you find the blaze. You can play several times in just one day. Chaseopoly, the thrill of the chase. Take your journey without ever leaving your place. It's fun for the young, it's fun for the old. Get your title to the gold when your real search for the treasure needs a break. Play Chaseopoly, the thrill of the chase. Chaseopoly, the thrill of the chase.
And thank you to everybody who signed the Chaseopoly board. All right, we'll see you Monday. Peace.
Bye.